Hi
Hello,
guys.
Violet.
Hi Yasek. Hi everyone.
Hi,
Um,
everyone.
I hope everyone is on time. Okay. Hi guys. Welcome to the first webinar of Salesforce DIY. Drum rolls or clapping. But it's nice to have everyone here. We are Tequma AG. My name is Violet Simon. I'm sure you have seen me everywhere from LinkedIn. And if you haven't seen me, hello. And then Yasek. Please introduce yourself.
Okay, thanks, Violet. I'm Jacek Czeruszenko, and I'm co-founder of Tequma. And together with Violet and the team, we're implementing Salesforce for different organizations. Great to have you all here.
Nice to meet you, Yasek. For everyone, basically. So my name is Violet. Like I said before, I'm a consultant, a certified consultant. I am also an MPSP consultant, and I work with Tequma AG together with Yasek. We are a Salesforce consultant and partner based in Switzerland, and we provide the service of integrating the Salesforce systems for all organizations. But we are putting our focus on NGOs today because as a team, as an organization, we are basically trying to help several NGOs in Europe help to manage their donations, help to put their systems together. And basically, we hope to do more to give back to society how we hope that the society has given to us. And we just want to make sure that NGOs basically try to embrace transformation digitally and ensure that all their goals are met. So today we are going to listen to Jacek, the very certified expert, tell us how NGOs can benefit from the Power of Us program that was implemented by Salesforce. It is basically almost free, and yeah, it is easy to integrate. Like we say, Salesforce DIY, you can integrate it by yourself, but it is mostly recommended to use the services of experts or at least talk to experts during the process of implementation to make services easier. So I'm going to move to Jacek and let Jacek tell us how this can be helpful and how we can. Hello, everyone. I see people are joining us. Hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't know if you missed the first part, but I don't repeat myself. But welcome, guys. Over time, we're still going to introduce ourselves. We're going to hear from everyone. But yes, it's nice to have you guys here. Over to you, Jacek.
Okay, thanks, Violet. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this session. As Violet mentioned, we learned Salesforce and we wanted to, and we work in Salesforce ecosystem for already some time, and we wanted to share with you some knowledge and what you can do on your own for your non-profit organizations. And that's kind of, we are really thankful to Salesforce for bringing this offer to nonprofits, and we were surprised that not many nonprofit organizations are really aware of the what Salesforce offers to them, and that they can actually implement Salesforce and use the Salesforce instead of many different spreadsheets. And so we did a couple of projects for NGOs across Europe, as Violet mentioned. And we kind of learned what NGOs and non-profit organizations, what are the problems, how they struggle with the digital transformation, and actually how to get into the Salesforce world, kind of moving out of many Excel sheets and or Google Sheets, and move to the more integrated solution. So that's why we decided to share with you today and the information about what Salesforce offers and how you can use the solution for your nonprofit. And also, if you follow us, or please follow us also on the LinkedIn, then you will learn more from our newsletter and from our postings. Okay, so we are moving to the presentation. Very briefly, we'll go through the presentation quickly, and then we'll show you a few things in the as a demo. So that's actually our team partially. So there are people in the background who are supporting us as well. So today we'll focus on the non-profit success pack, NPSP. We'll see this abbreviation a few times today. So the non-profit success pack is a core functionality for non-profits, which was developed by Salesforce. And so it covers the fundraising part and a couple of other things, and we'll talk about later. Then we'll talk about volunteers, and many in NGOs, volunteers are really a very important support. And so, of course, many people are willing to help to get into your goals, to support you in reaching your goals. And then it's important to manage them, to know who is capable of doing different things. And that we'll talk about in detail later. And then the program management module, kind of what programs, what services we offer to beneficiaries. And we'll talk also about the outbound funds module, which was developed as a kind of part of the open source community and together with Salesforce. So as important information, you probably know the website salesforce.com, but also, I mean, today we'll focus on the website salesforce.org, which is the website dedicated to non-profit organization and educational institutions. And so if we'll be referring to some websites or web pages, they will be on the salesforce.org. Okay, so a couple of things about us. So we founded the company last year, and in Zurich, and we have consultants in Zurich and in France and in Poland. And so we focus on the small organizations, so small and medium organizations, commercial and also non-profit organizations. And we also deliver so-called Tequma Salesforce Academy, during which we help people to get into a Salesforce ecosystem. So that's our aim, to being a part of the Salesforce Talent Alliance, to help people to get into the Salesforce ecosystem. So let's move on. So the overall, that's the overall picture of the non-profit cloud. Don't worry about if we will be talking about cloud word too much today. So cloud is just solution which is and as a software as a service, so you don't need to have anything apart from your browser and your PC or your mobile. And so the non-profit cloud consists of few elements. So fundraising part, that's of course the most important for many non-profit organizations, or for most of them. Of course, there is a part for the marketing and engagement. So how to actually engage potential donors into the activities, but also other stakeholders, and also how to motivate volunteers to help us to reach our goals. Then we have the program management. So what we can run different programs with slightly different objectives, and would like to manage them, to have information how many people benefited from our services. So that's the part which we have at Salesforce as well. And the last, the grants management, I will elaborate a bit on that a bit more later. So in grants management, if you have enough funding, then of course you can also grant some funds to smaller organizations or to some other institution or even individuals. And the Salesforce in that area helps you to manage that part, and so to keep track of all the funds which you don't granted, and also to get the whole application process in order. So if we go to the next slide with the more information, so as you can see, For each of those 4 areas, there are some additional information and additional functionalities which Salesforce delivers. And next to a few of them, you see a dollar sign, and that part is actually a commercial product from Salesforce. But today we'll focus on those modules you can use for free under, of course, some eligibility rules apply. And so of course, when you get into details, then there are a lot of options and functionalities. For example, in the grants management, there is this open funds module, which we'll be talking about today. But also Salesforce offers the commercial solution, so-called grant management. For the marketing and engagement, so there is the whole marketing solution from Salesforce you can use, and but that's for plan for the next webinar. Let's move on. Okay, so very briefly, so what we have, what offer we have from Salesforce. So first of all, Salesforce provides licenses for free to eligible NGOs or non-profit organizations. And probably you heard something about sales and service clouds. That's the core of the Salesforce functionalities. And those 2 clouds are the so-called core functionalities which commercial companies use, but also we will use in the non-profit success pack. There are a few objects, a few functionalities which are used by non-profit organizations. So it's important that you check the eligibility, those eligibility rules, because then you can check if you are eligible for the 10 free licenses from Salesforce. If your organization for some reason are not eligible, anyhow you will get some discounts from Salesforce, and it's much cheaper than the commercial offer. So what do we mean by the cloud? Yeah. So as I mentioned, this is software as a service. So you probably all use Gmail or some other tools, and so you don't have any server in under your desk or in the server room. So so in the software as a service, it actually it means that you use the solution. It is stored in some Salesforce server room, and then you can just use it. You don't need to pay for the energy costs for servers or for network or for database administration. So everything is covered by Salesforce. You can just start using that right now. So NGOs in instances, yeah. So those servers, let's put it that way, they are located in different locations, and so in Europe, especially Europe, there are locations, especially in Germany, in France, also some other countries will be soon available, and so they are all GDPR compliant. So you don't need to worry about that the data of your stakeholders or your beneficiaries are stored somewhere else. They are actually stored in Europe, and you don't need to worry about it. And of course, then the Salesforce offers the highest standards of security, so including multi-factor authentication. That's actually a good security, so you don't need to worry about all the security, the technical or information technology security problems which you hear here. And so if you follow Salesforce rules, then you will stay safe. And of course, you can use Salesforce on your desktop, on the tablet, or on mobile. Let's move on. So, getting to the to details on the NPSP. So, the most important is actually you have many stakeholders, and when we implemented NPSP for different NGOs, those stakeholders were ranging from members to beneficiaries to some donors, to some supporting institutions. So you need to have this information somewhere in one place. Yeah? So instead of having this kept on some Excel files, you can have this everything in one system in Salesforce, and so you can have all the detailed information stored directly in Salesforce. And then, of course, then you can manage information about different grants or donations or memberships which you receive. So you received, for example, if you are an association, then your members, they pay you some membership fees. But as a non-profit organization, you may get some good donors who actually donated to you some money, and you need to keep this information in the system. So, of course, some donations, sometimes at the beginning they are pledged. So somebody promised you to give you some money, and later, then once the money arrived in your bank account, then it's confirmed. So you can actually control the whole fundraising process, how much money you have already, how much money was promised to you, and you can plan your activities accordingly. And this is very important because as for all institutions or organizations, the cash flow is the most critical element. So it helps you to manage, okay, how much money do we have, how much money we will have next month, and you can plan your actions accordingly. Okay, so you can also allocate different funds to different donations to different funds. But important is actually that you all receive many different inquiries. They can come from customers or from your beneficiaries or from volunteers or from other institutions. Yeah, and so the managing of the customer and the stakeholder inquiries, it's a very important element. So quite often the different organizations, they just manage this in Outlook or in Gmail, and that's actually where you have all the information kept in the email part, and that's why it's important to manage this also in one place, that you can have all the information and you can manage all the inquiries and respond to inquiries from one place. So then, of course, we'll go to the further modules. So let's move on to the next part. So volunteers. Yeah. So volunteers, of course, then you need to have the whole relationship with all the volunteers who actually promised to help you with some activities or with some campaigns. You need to record the time which volunteers supported you, to be able to report this time to them back. So you can also plan some shifts when the people are available, and then, of course, then you can manage the skills in what areas volunteers can help you during different activities, and to be able to allocate them properly into area of their competencies and where they can help you the most. Also, you can, if you have a website, then you can integrate this easily from Salesforce to your website, and to give them the possibility to volunteers to sign in to volunteer work remotely, and it will save a lot of hours from your time, and so you can actually get this information automatically in Salesforce. Okay, let's move on. So the next part is the program management module. That's actually the highest level of all the programs which you manage in your NPO. So you can have many different services in those programs. It could be that you support children at school with some help in learning, afternoon learning or evening learning, or it could be that you are granting some some food to different people, and so there are many different elements or different services which you offer. And so actually you can keep this information and manage this information about the beneficiaries and what services you offered and what services you delivered. And this information supports later on. You can actually use this information to report back to your stakeholders. How did you spend money which different donors granted to you, and to keep the information about really activities which you perform to the society. And the next area is the outbound. Next area is the outbound funds. It's actually how do we manage the money which we grant to different people, and this is how we actually distribute our money if we have this capacity and funds to support others to get to give them money for some special activities. Okay, and so we're all coming to the. Let's go to the next slide. So the important element is that actually that you can learn Salesforce for free. Salesforce offers e-learning on the trailhead.salesforce.com website. That's the e-learning platform, which is really great, and you can learn everything from scratch. Salesforce also offers free so-called sandboxes or testing systems on which you can play around, and this is really something which definitely you can learn, and or your people in your organization can learn as well for free. So everything is there, and you can actually really benefit from already prepared courses from Salesforce, and this is really part of also DIY, then that you can actually learn and you can implement those changes in your Salesforce immediately. Let's move on to the next slide.
Yeah. How can you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how can you rate the learning process for the NGOs? Do you think it is very easy, or it is super hard, or they would need help with learning?
With learning, I would say it's super easy. Of course, it requires some time to go through that, but really the training materials are prepared very, very well. And so they explain very, very well what should be done with the real life cases, how the different functionalities should be implemented. And so it takes time, but the people can learn it without starting from zero, from zero knowledge about Salesforce, you can get to the point in which actually you can implement Salesforce on your own. There is a question how much time it will take to learn. Usually the modules they take 1 to 3 hours each. So at the beginning, of course, it takes a bit more time for the new joiners, but it's just it requires just a couple of hours to start using the system. And I will show you how to start and ready. And so and you can actually start today, and then you can learn. And later, once you will feel comfortable, then you can follow some steps to get your own license. But this slide actually shows how to get ready your Salesforce instance for your team and for your organization. It's really easy. It's actually salesforce.org/power of us. And then you please check the eligibility rules on that web page. They differ between different countries. And Salesforce just listed 4 steps. Those steps are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So take the readiness step, or the readiness survey, and just verify what is there, and kind of if your organization is ready to make this step forward, then sign up for the free trial. And it's already free. There are no hidden costs, and you can just start using that. And then you need to submit documents about your organization, and then you submit your application, and you just wait for the response about those free licenses. For the one organization in Switzerland for which we made the implementation, it was just done in just few days, and so they received those 10 licenses, and we started the project almost immediately. And of course, so you can just start using the system. So very simple, and the main process which you can see on the screen. As we'll be moving to the demo on the following slide, then actually on the following step. So we have a couple of processes in Salesforce, and we have a couple of objects. Yeah, object is just it represents the real life object or real life people in this case. So we have leads, we have accounts, we have contacts. At the beginning, maybe those objects are not that easy to recall. What is the difference between lead and account and contact? But for today, I will show you how to manage contacts and accounts. So contact, I mean, as you have contacts in your smartphone, and they are just contact people who can have different roles, who can play different roles. They could be volunteers, that could be your donors. And accounts is actually, you can have a different organization which supports you. It could be also a household of the contact. Salesforce actually uses this household concept to group people coming from one household. That's based on their experience and experience of many organizations that actually, if a donor supports the organization, quite often the other members of the same household, they are willing to support organization as well. Just interesting information that Salesforce announced that they have 47,000 non-profit organizations currently running on Salesforce. So across the globe, so there are people coming from different backgrounds for different goals which they have to give back to society, and that's how different organizations can actually use Salesforce for their own purposes. So of course we can have to write down all the information about what happened, with whom we talked, and what we did so far, how we contact different potential donors, how we ask them for the funding, and so there are many areas and how it could be done. Okay. That was really a quick intro to the slide. Let's kind of don't waste too much time on the PowerPoint. Let's move on to our Salesforce. Let me just share my screen.
Okay, while we're waiting for Jacek, please, those who are joining us, let us know how it's going. I hope you've learned at least one thing. Maybe one thing, yes. I would want to ask a question, but I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and wait for Jacek. But yeah, I hope you're learning something.
Okay, great. If you have any questions on the way, just write them in the chat, and then we'll stop and answer your questions. Okay. Actually, as you can see, we are in Salesforce. Yeah, maybe it's not that. At the beginning, it's not that easy to see, but it's actually Salesforce. It's very easy, and the same. You will see the same user interface across all the Salesforce instances or systems, just with some different changes. So maybe very briefly, what is there? So everything here, as you can see, this is non-profit success pack. Usually for the commercial, it's either the company logo or Salesforce logo. So we are already in Salesforce, and there are a couple of great features in Salesforce. But let's start from the left-hand side. Here there is a application launcher, so you can switch between different applications. And so actually this is actually how do you change or jump between different applications. And then you have different objects. So we contacts, we'll talk about the contacts in a minute. Then we have opportunities and many other elements which are important. And also they are great wizards from Salesforce how to start with NPSP. So I mean, you can just go step by step and just follow what Salesforce suggests, how to start with a non-profit, create constituent records, etc., etc. And it's really the wizard is just great, and so you can quickly go through those videos and you can quickly learn how to start using Salesforce. So the non-profit success pack. So let's jump into contacts. So we have different contacts. We have few volunteers. You can see who's actually volunteering for our work, and so system is actually searching for to get those volunteer contact details, and as we can see, there are some names, and so there's a volunteer status, and there are some volunteer skills. What those volunteers are able to do and how to help us. So what are the opportunities? Yeah, because the name opportunities sounds a bit strange, and so actual also in actually what are the possibilities to get some additional sales, and it's actually we have different opportunities that people can give us some money. So let me just as you can see, they are for the trial, and you will get a lot of information about donations, test data which Salesforce prepared, so you can actually use the data to play with that. And so if you're starting getting a new opportunity, then actually there are a couple of different opportunities. So of course we can get some donations, and this is actually we can set donation. We can get some grants. We can get some in-kind gifts or some major gifts, or yeah, as you know, the matching gifts quite often different organizations they match the donations or gifts given by the MPs. Or if you are for example you are part of the association, you have some memberships, and you can actually use that to collect information for your to record information about the membership fees which you need to collect from your members. Okay, so let me just pick one. Let's say the membership. And so we have a couple of information which we need to provide. And so there's opportunity name. We can say that this is membership 2020 to 2023. And then of course, then let me pick myself. Then I need to my household, me from my household, and then of course then we need information about the membership, when the membership starts, when the membership will finish, and then we have the amount. Let me say that this is 50 francs in this example, and so it should be completed by the end of the year, and so then we can have multiple different stages. So if it's actually something which was already pledged, that somebody promised us that this money will be paid, and so as a member of the organization, I'm pledged to pay this, and and then I will just save it. So this is opportunity. Yeah, you can use the opportunity in many different ways, but depending on the type of the organization, if you are getting more donations, or if you are getting more, if you're members, getting this information pretty quick. quickly. And then also you can run some reports to get this information about all the different people who are actually in your organization, who actually paid for membership fee or donation. So you can also run some campaigns, and maybe just a small remark on that. Campaign in this part is not the full marketing campaign. As I mentioned on the beginning of the presentation, there is a marketing campaign or so-called marketing cloud engagement solution for non-profit organizations. This campaign it's also very good. It's not does not allow you to create some campaign logic, but anyway, you can actually and you can have plan those campaigns. You can also inform or group people to whom you are targeted this campaign to, and so all that information you will have in campaigns. But if you would like to create a marketing campaign logic, and then you need to have a marketing campaign solution. So, but anyway, I think at the beginning you can live with that, and really most of our NGOs with whom we worked so far, they focus on that, and they before they will invest in the marketing campaign solution, for them it's enough to use this campaign object from Salesforce. Okay, so we can actually have some recurrent donations, but let me jump to the next part about the volunteers. So actually, I'm changing the application to volunteers. It's so-called Volunteers for Salesforce. So I'm jumping to the new application, and in this that we actually call the volunteers. So volunteers, they have just a few additional information on that content, and so that information we need to provide to have the proper information about volunteers. So let me just jump quickly to those volunteers, not to spend too much on that. So let me just open contacts, and as you saw, then we have volunteers. We have the list of all of our volunteers, and for every volunteer we have some information about one person can support us. And let me just open one record. So we have Maria Yegi, and she can work with us. So if I scroll down, we can see that there is information section, and so she's an active volunteer, and then we have the volunteer skills, and we have information about volunteer availability, when people can this person can support us, and then we can use this information if we plan some campaign. So there is a very nice volunteer wizard which helps you to campaign. Yeah, campaign is, again, in this case, it's actually some event. Let's put event. Let's put Christmas event. And then we have let's say the conference, and it will take place not today, 16th December. And then we need some support. We need some support. So we need information on that. I will just clone it from the existing campaign, and so we can just save it. So pretty quickly we can actually create campaign, and we have some volunteer jobs, so we can create those jobs. Yeah, probably we need some technical support, and so not waste too much time. I will show you how it. So those volunteers were created already, so support, and so we have the volunteer job created, and everything is already created, and we can easily use this to volunteer. So we have a number of volunteers who are needed, and that's what we have in the volunteer part. Are there any questions?
I think we're as clear as we can be at this point, because I cannot see any questions. I do not know if that is a good thing. Just maybe we are explaining it properly. So yeah.
Okay. So maybe just before we jump to the last part, I think that the important is that maybe at the beginning it looks complicated, but believe me, I mean, really everyone can learn. And so those NGOs with whom we worked, they had no previous background. They have a different variety of goals, and they have a different variety of backgrounds. There are people from healthcare, there are people from refugee support, and or women entrepreneurship, and so they started from scratch. They kind of they learned Salesforce, and they were able to get to the standard user work after just a couple of days. In some more complex part, it took a bit longer, but really they were able to quickly start using Salesforce without a lot of training. It's really very intuitive. Once you start using that, everything becomes clear how it can be done and how it could be easily used. So important is that actually that's why we started this DIY course, that we strongly believe that you can do it yourself. Maybe in some more technical issues, sometimes you can face some problems and we can help. But believe me, you can actually start using Salesforce and for your NGO, and it's really something which we find great, and that's the area in which we think that that's why we wanted to share this with all of you, that your organization can use Salesforce and kind of move from a bit chaos with many different spreadsheets and all lists, and you can use the system for free.
Yeah. So thank you guys thank you Jacek. As usual, the presentation was awesome. So thank you.
Thanks, Violet. Thanks, everybody. Please get in touch with us if you need any additional information or some support. Then also, if you want to exchange some information or experience with the NGOs who are already using Salesforce, and definitely they are a perfect contact to or reference that you can actually say, okay, it's not difficult, and you can do it as well.
Okay, and you can also reach out to us at info@tequma.com. There's always someone to answer. You can also follow us on LinkedIn at Tequma AG, and you can follow me personally at Violet Simon on LinkedIn, or Jacek, and any member of the team. And we're always willing to help, willing to assist, willing to provide information about whatever you need on Salesforce. We also offer services to NGOs. So after implementation, you always need help, or you need help with implementation or with administration, and it is very overwhelming. Tequma AG is, as usual, we're always there to provide services in Europe, wherever. You can just reach out to us, and yes, in simple terms, we got you. We got you covered, basically. So thank you to everyone that attended this webinar. Hopefully, we'll have more to come. Jacek, don't get tired yet. so, so please, thank you. We hope to see you again. Thank you for attending. And yes.
And subscribe to our newsletter, and you can learn more. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us.